Here is another roof design video for someone who's interested in doing a home addition. And we're going to start with a L-shaped house like this one here. Now the individual that I'm doing this design for, it has a two-story house, but the roof should be the same. Now the addition is going to go right here. And all we're going to do for our first example is just simply extend this plane right here. We're going to extend it up to a gable and then come back down. And that would look something like this when we were done. So not difficult to do here. And depending upon the width of the room and the width of the existing house, stuff like that, you might need to do something like this, or the roof might actually sit to where it's lower, depending upon where the ridge dies into. But this is just kind of the design here. If this area is going to be wider than this area, then this point here could be, this area could be a little larger. So for example, if the span here is 30 foot and the span here is 34 foot, you would have something like this. If the span was 34 foot over here and 30 foot over here, then the ridge would die in on the other side, somewhere down here. So it wouldn't be the same problem, but this is how we fix it here. And of course, this is what the roof plan would kind of look like here, the one we just looked at. The ridge is coming into here and then coming down through here with a couple of hips and then a couple of valleys on each side. Another thing you could do would be to just have some hips coming off of here. So instead of having a gable end, you would just have some hips. This area would still be the same, but it would look something like this here instead. So again, this area would be the same here. You would just have some hips coming off of the front here instead of a gable. You know, some people just don't want to have a large area here. And sometimes when you're doing a home addition, you can get a little carried away when you go the length of a house that was meant to have a gable roof. So let's just say that you had a 40-foot long house and you have a 30-foot section here and you're going to go the full 40 feet. This is going to be 40 feet wide here. You could have a large gable. Now don't forget, you can always, let's just say you have a 5 and 12 pitch here. You could always change the pitch over here to make it a 3 and 12, to make it a little shorter. You could always have it die into the ridge if you wanted to, whatever the height would be on that, as long as it would work for the slope of the roof. For example, if you have a 4 and 12 pitch and you're using composition shingles or let's say tile, where you need to have a minimum of, let's just say 15 degrees for a roof pitch, or a 4 and 12. A 4 and 12 is 18 degrees. And you say, hey, wait, I'm going to put a 1 and 12 or a 2 and 12 on the end here. Not going to work. You're going to have to change the roofing. So keep the roofing materials in mind also when you're trying to figure out or design your home addition. And you get into an area where you have a roof pitch that might not work for those particular materials, or might work, but it's going to require you to spend a few more dollars. Now let's take a look at how the addition would be built. I know a lot of times I can draw something on with the other software and then people are like, well, how do you build it? I'm not going to show you how to build it. This is just for design purposes. But you can see here, the home addition is going to go here. So if we put it on, this would be the kind of framing you would have to do. So you don't need to rip this roof off all the time. You know, if you were going to go with trusses or something like that, and you're going to go all the way across, you're going to have to rip the roof off. But you don't always need to do that. You can build on top of the other roof sometimes. And again, if this is an existing truss roof, you might need to remove it. Might not be able to support the weight as a conventional one would. And again, I'm not providing you with structural engineering information, just providing you with a few design ideas on how something like this can be designed and then constructed.